Hey, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you. Hello. Thank you. It's great to be here. I appreciate it. And thank you for that introduction, Lori, as well. And in my role within Facebook, I deal with CPG marketers day in and day out, and I've done that for in various capacities for 25 years. And central to the CPG marketer is certainly the female audience. She makes 80% or influences 80% of the purchases that happen in the CPG category. So this topic is very near and dear to my heart as a CPG marketer. And the reality is that as a CPG marketer, our job is getting harder because while our business, and this is a representative CPG marketer, global sales for the past 15 or since 1987, while our business is growing up and to the right, as we like to say, the challenge is that we have to do more with fewer dollars, and we're being squeezed between consumers who are more economically savvy and conscious and retailers who are expanding into private label and also kind of becoming our competitors and being much smarter about how to use big data. And so our job is getting increasingly harder. And wouldn't it be nice, oh, woe were the days, when the soap opera was the soap opera, and it was aptly named because it was a point in time when you could reliably reach most of the female audience that were making the purchase decisions for the family's household. And the reality is that just doesn't occur anymore, and that's not a reliable way to reach the female audience any longer. And what you see here are kind of the degradation in the reach of television advertising and the predictability of that as a marketing vehicle for us as CPG marketers, and then certainly the expense of that as well, which is more and more challenging given that we have to be careful of our efficiency. So we've really got to focus on efficiently and effectively reaching that right female consumer. So the good news and the opportunity here is to do that in a number of different channels. So what you're looking at is women and moms actually and their occurrence and utilization of their mobile phone while they're shopping. That's a great opportunity for us because she's carrying us around as marketers in her pocket as she's going about her day. What is she buying and what's influenced by that mobile experience? She's buying clothing, she's buying beauty products, she's buying household products, all of which is influenced by that mobile ad, that mobile screen that she's seeing as she goes about her day. Now, within Facebook, we've certainly, you guys know this probably, we've grown to 1.1 billion people globally in the number of people that utilize Facebook. And there's a bit of a probably preconceived notion among some, and I bet probably not this room because I think you're smarter than that, where the female audience, or the Facebook is just for the female audience, or just for the 18 to 24-year-old. Of course, if we're 1.1 billion people globally, that's not the case. We're all using Facebook, and I know there are hands that I saw go up that are probably using it as I'm speaking, and I will not be offended by that. What's even more interesting, though, is the growth of mobile and what we see in our own information. And a couple of things here. One, we've grown to 680 million people globally that we reach through the mobile platform. But what's even more interesting about that is how quickly that has occurred. So this is really a kind of a changing opportunity for all of us as CPG marketers. And I do think it's an opportunity. I'm going to talk about the opportunity. I'm going to give you some examples of clients and companies that are doing it well. And I love the ones I saw earlier today. And then I'm going to talk about where we see things going next. But first of all, let me talk about that influence. This is 2001 data, these data are from 2001. It's the share of retail sales that were influenced by either made online or influenced online in 2001. Compare that now to over 50% in 2012 and where it's going, which is almost 60% by just 2.5 years from now. So that is online, that is the influence of that digital connection on retail sales. So that's interesting, that's the business side way to look at it. Let's look at it from the people side. What does this actually mean in terms of people? And more specifically, let's talk about moms. Moms on the Facebook platform, 98% of moms of kids who are age 0 to 3, 98% of them can have friends who are also moms. All of them, almost all of them, have friends who are also moms. And they influence one another at 2x the rate of the average Facebook user. 84% of moms with kids age 4 to 12 have friends on Facebook who are also moms. 64% of moms on the Facebook platform, of moms who have kids age 13 to 19 on the Facebook platform, have friends who are also moms. Those are staggering numbers when you think about growing to 1.1 billion people and the ability to reach that mom and then influence that mom. And I love the example that Bailey shared because it really is the example of reaching the right consumer and then influencing her. And I love seeing those screenshots of the comments that really happen, that we see every day, where people are talking about brands and talking about our products as CPG marketers. Okay, who's doing this well today? You saw examples earlier. I'm going to share a few. And the point I like to make here, too, is that great social marketing is just great marketing. And social marketing is really just marketing. It's marketing in a social world. And people will ask me often, well, tell me how I do great creative on Facebook. And I'll say, tell me what your objective is, and tell me what your great creative on television, on print, or in your features are. And they kind of look at me like, why is the Facebook person asking me about traditional media? And I'm saying, because if you can't tell me what your execution is in those other channels, I want you to do that similar execution on Facebook. I don't want you to create some special app. What I want you to do is take the execution that you're doing on your traditional marketing and find a way to extend that through Facebook. And here's some great examples. They all start with the original objective of the brand. I'm driving awareness. And again, back to what Bailey was showing earlier, one of the other things I loved about that was she was referencing it back to their traditional media, but also to their core objective. They had a household penetration challenge, and it was going down. They were able to stabilize that. She's linking all of their marketing activities and their Facebook activity back to their overall marketing objective. What you see in these examples here, they're extensions of the traditional campaign that's being executed in other media. They're visually compelling, but what you see along the bottom, they might be superiority-based, they might be initiative-driven, they're on brand, and they're very timely. That's very important. But their great creative on Facebook is just great creative. The other great examples of clients that are doing it really well, some luxury brand clients, Coty, Maybelline, Revlon, Burberry, I could name a number of them. And what they've discovered is that the luxury consumer on the Facebook platform is very active, similar to the mom, very active in sharing, very active in talking about the brand, and the brand can be part of that conversation. And essentially, they become your network, extension of your existing network. Okay, why target moms? Moms on our network have 25% more friends. They like to talk about their kids and their family. They like to share that information, and they trust one another. So in addition to receiving your message, then your message gets passed along, and it's coming from a trusted friend that I have in my network. That's a very powerful marketing tool. Reckitt Benckiser is one of the clients that I will mention that is using that very well. And what Reckitt Benckiser, using that network very well, what Reckitt Benckiser did, they have a powerful franchise in the Lysol brand, and they had a line extension that they were launching called Lysol Power and Free. And Lysol Power and Free was an extension of the Lysol brand designed to go against the bleach products and instead use hydrogen peroxide, and in a way that makes it more kid-friendly. So it was very important that they spoke to moms and that they leveraged that mom-to-mom influence network. So they did that. They leveraged the mom-to-mom influence network. They stuck with creative that was on message with the rest of their campaign. Their campaign was around the new era of clean and the fact that hydrogen peroxide is much more kid-friendly and much safer for you to have in your household if you're a mom. Safety is something that's very important to a mom. These things Lysol understood. They leveraged through the platform. They developed creative that was on message with the rest of their creative. They put measurement tools in place that measured not fans and PTAT, if anybody knows what that means, but what they did was they measured return on investment, they measured reach, they measured awareness, they measured brand integration, and ultimately they measured the lift in sales. And what they saw as a result of this campaign was a 30% lift in the Lysol brand franchise. I think everybody in this room would like to see a 30% in your brand franchise. Those are pretty staggering numbers. The lift in sales. They had the creative that was right on message and on point and synergistic with the rest of their campaign. They had an objective that was very, very clear, and they had measurement objectives that were also linked back to fundamentally sales. What's next? Great examples. Where is this going? What's next? So if I were to design the utopian marketing system, putting my CPG marketer hat on, what I want to be able to reach are all of the right people, all of the right time with my message, right? Reach the right people. Find them, reach all of them. One of them won't do. With CPG marketers, of course, we've got to reach everybody at scale. And then make them love me, right? Utopian system here. The challenge with existing and traditional traditional media channels is that when you do so much research behind the right consumer, finding her, knowing exactly what message to get to her, and really speaking her curly-haired language, right? But then, I heard a yay, I can't relate. But then when it comes to television advertising, what we can buy as CPG marketers is just kind of dumbed down to demographics. I can buy women age 18 to 34 in my example here. I can buy a lot of them, but I can buy women age 18 to 34. I'm missing the rest of that consumer group when I'm buying television advertising. Let's get to interest-based targeting. So cable television and magazines can be very accurately targeted based on interests. The challenge there is that as a marketer, you need scale. You need to get to a lot of those right people. And you can very quickly run out of scale when you're buying cable advertising or print advertising. You reach saturation very quickly. You're getting a high-frequency message, but that gets tuned out very quickly. So, marketers, we think about demographics, et cetera. What we have to keep in mind is that people have moms, and that in my utopian system, I want to be able to reach women, but I need to really be able to reach women. I need to get to Judy, Erin, Shelby. I need to get to that exact, precise person with the right message. That sounds a little daunting. Here's what we're doing to help. The future isn't about demographics and buying based on demographics. The future is about finding that precise consumer. What we're doing to try to help is integrating offline data providers, something like an Axiom or an Epsilon or Datalogix, who can provide the insight into, using frequent shopper data, the insight into what the consumer is actually purchasing in the grocery store. So you can find that curly hair shampoo buyer, if that's the person that you want to find. You can find your buyer, you can find category buyers, you can find your switchers. You don't have to speak to competitive loyal buyers who are never going to buy your brand. You're going to speak to exactly the right person with your message. I'll give you a real-world example. I will confess my age. I'm 47. I'm in the female 47-year-old demographic. You might think thank you. You might think I have kids if you look at me as a demographic group, right? You might think I make most of the purchasing decision and do the cooking in my household if you look at me as a female age 47. None of those are true. I don't do the cooking. I have a bit of influence on the purchase decision. The thing that I spend the most of my the highest proportion of my disposable income on, and that I am the most influential on, and I influence a lot of people in this category, is on my Facebook homepage. It's motorcycles. You would never reach me. The motorcycle advertisers are never going to reach me if they're buying based on demographics. If they're using the information that they have about me through other channels, they could reach me quite accurately. I'll give you another example. Consumers, three consumers here, all of whom are in the market for a car, interested in cars. And they all fit within an 18 to 34, 35-year-old demographic and female. But one of them is interested in outdoors activity, one of them is a mom, one of them is interested in green products. We have the ability now to understand that and tailor our messages to those distinct groups of consumers based on what their interests and their actual buying activity is. That's a very powerful thing. I can serve a message to my sedan, my outdoor person about off-road activity. I can serve something to my mom about it being a safe vehicle, and I can serve an ad to my green-interested organic person about how many miles per gallon it gets. That's a very powerful change in the way that we're serving our advertising messages, and I think a big opportunity for us. You can also now use your own CRM database. So you can use the external databases that are available in through our systems, or you can use that information that you've gleaned over so many years building your own CRM database. That's a very powerful tool because it means that you can serve that message to precisely the consumer that you know so much about. So if you've got that CRM database and you know that, let's go back to my other examples, the mom, the green interest, whatever you've got over those years and years that you build into your own CRM systems, you can now utilize that, upload that into our tools, and be able to serve that right message to the right woman at the right time for her. Thank you.
Wow.